I helped redesign one of my subscribers' Etsy shops to make their branding stronger, and I'll show you exactly how you can improve yours too. Our branding class is in session. So when someone lands on your Etsy shop, you have about 3 seconds to answer 3 questions. Who are you? What do you sell? And why should I trust you with my money? Your branding is what answers those questions without saying a word. The colors you use, your banner, your logo, even your product photos, all of that gives people a feel for who you are and what your shop is about. And if your shop looks clean and professional, it makes people trust you more. It shows that you care, that you're legit, and that buying from you is a safe and easy choice. But if your branding doesn't make that clear right away, you could be losing customers before they even click on a product. So today we're going to transform a shop's branding, and I'll break down every decision I'm making so you can apply these same principles to your own shop. I'm going to be using KITTL because they just launched this new feature called KITTL Flows that I think is going to be an absolute game changer for anyone working on branding. KITTL Flows basically lets you create one master design and then automatically generate variations with just a few clicks. Here are some examples of designs where they used KITTL Flows. This is perfect for what we're doing today because I can quickly test different looks and show you multiple options. So let's see how this works in practice as we transform a shop. So the shop we're going to be working on is called Happy Editable Shop. I asked for her permission to be included in this video. Here's her request. I'm aiming for a cool brand vibe that works well across categories. I'm open to any color palette that feels clean, modern, and versatile. I could tell right away that she loves color. I want to keep those colors in her shop because it's clearly her style, but I also want to give it a more modern twist as per her request. Here's the plan. I'm keeping the background a soft cream color because it gives everything that clean look. For the font, I'm going with something more modern, probably a serif font since that usually gives off a more modern feel. I noticed she had some stock photos on her banner, so instead of using those, I'm going to add some fun, playful elements that still match her vibe. Personally, I'm not a fan of using generic stock photos on banners. I think it's always better to use your own product photos or sprinkle in cute little design elements that actually feel like you. This actually ties into something important when it comes to branding. So lesson number 1, you have to know your brand aesthetic. Before you start creating logos or choosing fonts, take a step back and really figure out what you want your brand to look and feel like. Ask yourself things like, what colors do I love? Do I want something bold and fun or clean and minimal? What kind of vibe do I want people to feel when they see my brand? Who am I trying to attract? It doesn't have to be complicated. Just make a list, start a Pinterest board or screenshot things you like. The more clarity you have, the easier everything else becomes. Because branding isn't just about making things look pretty, it's about making everything feel consistent and intentional, and that all starts with knowing what you're going for. Okay, so first up, we're working on her logo. Her brand name is a little on the longer side, which makes it tricky to fit nicely into a small square format. So to make it work, I decided to break it into 3 layers to help with spacing and balance. I'm also going to play around a bit with the words happy and editables, just adding a slight distortion to give them more personality and help them stand out a little more. Then I'm throwing in a few design elements like a flower, since I saw she used some on her banner, and a little sun to represent the word happy. I originally wanted to use a smiley, but I can't, even though it totally fits the vibe, because it's actually trademarked by the Smiley Corporation. Yep. That's a real thing. And I've read lots of stories on Reddit where their listings were taken down because it had some type of smiley in them. So just something to be aware of because you don't want to get your shop flagged. As for the color palette, I went with 3 main shades to keep it cohesive but still fun. And that brings me to the next branding tip. Choose a consistent color palette. Having a set group of colors you always use for your brand makes such a big difference. It helps people instantly recognize your stuff, whether it's your Instagram post, product listing, or website. Take Coca-Cola, for example. You probably think of the color red right away. With IKEA, it's that bold blue and yellow. And Spotify, instantly green. These brands have nailed their use of colors so well that just seeing the shade can remind you of them. It's a perfect example of how powerful color can be when it comes to branding. If you're just starting out, stick to 2 to 4 main colors that reflect your vibe and are easy to work with across different designs. And once you pick your colors, stick to them. It makes your whole brand feel more consistent and put together. Now that the logo is done, this is where the fun really starts. I'm using KITTL Flows to instantly generate multiple variations from the base design I just made. Flows lets you take anything, a design, a layout, even a rough sketch, and instantly turn it into multiple creative versions. You can try out different styles, colors, and layouts without having to start from zero every time. So first, I'm adding a smart board that's linked to the original logo, so any changes I make are all based on that first version. Then I'll input a prompt describing the kind of variation I want. For this one, I'm going to try something more colorful and add in some floral elements. And just like that, I've got a new variation of the same logo. Super quick and easy. This saves me so much time and gives me more design options without having to start from scratch each time. Let's actually make a few more. Create a variation of this logo using a retro 70s inspired vibe. Keep the floral elements, but use softer pastel shades like blush pink, lavender, sage green, and buttery yellow. Make a boho style version of this logo. Use earthy tones like terracotta, mustard, olive, and dusty rose. Now tell me, which one do you like the best? You can try KITTL flows for free. I'll leave the link in my description box. Seriously, it's such a great way to improve your creative workflow. And if you end up loving KITTL as much as I do, you can use my code YALEYT for 25% off any plan. Now let's move on to her banner. I plan on doing 2 banners so she can choose. For the first one, I'm sticking with the same cream-colored background to keep things consistent. I'm tweaking the layout of her logo a bit because the 3-layered version feels a little too crowded for a banner. So instead, I'm switching it up to just 2 layers and placing the word shop next to happy to make it flow better. I did this because another branding lesson I have for you is to pay attention to your alignment. Alignment helps everything look intentional and balanced. Whether it's centering your text or making sure elements line up with each other, good alignment makes your design look professional. When things are just slightly off, like look at me moving this word just by a little bit, it can make the whole layout look messy without you realizing why. So take that extra second to double check spacing and making sure everything is lined up just right. Trust me, it makes a huge difference. Okay, now back to designing. I'm also reusing the same design elements from her logo just to keep everything feeling cohesive and on brand. This brings me to another important branding lesson: repetition. Repetition is all about reusing the same visual elements like your colors, fonts, shapes, and even certain layouts across all your designs. It's actually what makes your brand feel instantly recognizable. When people see the same style showing up over and over, they start to remember you. So don't be afraid to repeat elements. Now I want to add something to the right side of the banner. In her original design, she had a laptop over there, and I actually like that idea, so I'm going to incorporate it here too. I'll look for a laptop image in KITTL's library, vectorize it so I can tweak the colors to match her branding. Next, I'll add her tagline, designed with love, made for you. I'll be using a different font for this. I'll also throw in a few subtle lines or accents just to fill in the empty space a bit. But overall, I'm keeping things simple, not too busy or cluttered. And that leads me to another branding tip: make use of white space. White space, aka the empty space between or around elements, is actually super powerful. It gives your design room to breathe, makes it easier to read, and instantly make things look more modern and clean. You don't need to fill every inch with something. Sometimes less really is more. Let the design elements shine by giving them space, and your layout will feel way more professional. And while we're at it, another lesson I have for you is to stick to 2 to 3 fonts max. Using too many fonts can make your branding feel chaotic. Instead, choose a font for your headings, 1 for your body text, and maybe a 3rd as an accent like a script or decorative font. Keeping it simple with fonts creates a clean look and makes everything easier to read, especially across platforms like your Etsy shop, Instagram, or even your own website. Now let's move on to the second banner. I'm keeping the same cream-colored background for consistency. This time I'm adding squares on top in her 3 brand colors and placing her brand name in a single line, just using different colors for variation. I'll also include her tagline at the bottom and sprinkle in her usual design elements. And that's it! This one's a bit more minimal since it doesn't include a photo, so she has a simpler option if she prefers it. Now it's off to her for approval. I asked the owner of the shop if she likes what I created. She said yes, and it's officially uploaded on her shop. Just to recap all the little branding tips I mentioned: know your brand aesthetic, stick to a consistent color palette, repeat your visual elements for a cohesive look, stick to 2 to 3 fonts max, pay attention to alignment, utilize white space. These small things make a huge difference in making your brand look polished and professional. Let me show you a few more branding kits I designed for the vault and walk you through the vibe I had in mind for each one. Okay, this first one is definitely on the girly side. You can tell from the pinks and reds. I used a retro style cursive font to give it a playful, fun feel. The little design elements I added all lean into that same energy. I picture this being perfect for a shop that sells things like party templates, cute stickers, or branding kits for feminine creative businesses. Now this next one is still colorful, but the tones are more muted. I find that when you tone colors down, they feel more modern. I used a serif font here, you know, the ones with little strokes or feet at the end of the letters, which adds to that modern elevated look. I also mixed a cursive font with a regular one, which is super trendy right now and adds a touch of elegance. I imagine this kit would be great for shops selling wedding templates, digital planners, educational materials, or even finance tools like budget spreadsheets. It's got that clean, formal look with just a hint of personality. And finally, this last one is for the minimalists out there. Super modern, super clean. I used neutral colors throughout and stuck with a serif font again to keep that sleek, professional vibe. I didn't add too many decorative elements here, just a little star for a touch of character, because I wanted to stay true to that minimalist feel. I see this working really well for shops that sell business templates for real estate, wellness, or therapy. I think it gives off a calm, refined energy, which matches the tone of those industries perfectly. And that's it. I hope you learned something from our little branding class. If you want to try out KITTL flows for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description box. And if you end up loving KITTL like I do, you can use my code YALEYT to get 25% off any plan. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It really, really helps my channel. Now go create something fun and amazing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!